What's up, YouTube artists and aspiring artists? It's Mike here with Aerosotle Custom Spray Paint Art. It's been like 4 years since we've properly done a spray paint art tutorial together. I'm back. I'm very rusty and out of practice, but today we're going to practice together and see how we can make out making a wolf howling at the moon. It's kind of a classic look, if you will. Definitely something that should be in your arsenal if you do any kind of live painting. Certainly a crowd pleaser, at least up here in Canada. So today we're going to get one done together. This is a quick look at me cutting some poster board. For those of you asking, what do I paint on? Check out my beginner spray paint art tutorial, the big video that actually goes into depth with materials we're using today. Got myself a nice little square, rectangle, whatever. Today, I'm using the most simple stencil possible, a soup can. I'm just gonna outline the very edge of the soup can, just so I know the area I'm making my moon. That's what we're starting with here. Spraying down some black, laying down some white, and then taking a little produce bag here. And just peeling back some of that paint. I also have a wolf stencil. This is as simple as printing a picture of a wolf silhouette that you Googled and cutting it out, tracing it and cutting it out with cardboard or the film that I use to make stencils with. One of the most basic things. We all can make shapes and cut them out. So play around, make your own little wolf stencil. I just kind of edge the stencil so I know the area I'm spraying. And here I'm going in and I'm just doing the lightest possible black spray paint that I could possibly be doing. I want the very, very bare minimum amount of paint on the page. And from there, you just really wait. We're going to shade our planet as well, our moon, if you will. Give that some depth. And here I'm just laying down some black for what's going to be some trees in the background. I really want to make sure there's a strong base of black, and I want to give that some time to dry as well. Maybe an unnecessary step, but nonetheless, walking you through how I got to the end result, step by step. If you are enjoying the video, if you find these videos helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to make sure you know when these videos go live. Additionally, we've been doing some live streams and some other things, so make sure you jump on board and join us here in the Aerosotle spray paint art community. Side note, if you hear a baby grunting, it's a baby monitor, not a baby in the garage with all the spray paint fumes. Don't panic. Please don't call Child Protective Services. Nonetheless, we've laid down our soup can. We've waited long enough and really made sure that black spray paint has dried underneath for our wolf, maybe rushing it ever so slightly. We're gonna go in here and kind of black out the page. Sticking with the theme, I'm really not using a ton of paint, trying to stick to the bare minimum here. I'm using Montana Gold in today's video. A lot of people doing this type of art use Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Gloss. You could buy it at Home Depot and other hardware stores. Montana Gold is available in art stores. Up here in Canada, actually finding it cheaper than buying Rust-Oleum at Walmart or Home Depot. Light touch with your spray cans. You don't want a fire hose. You don't want tons of paint. You can really see with the light set up here how much paint is going on the page. Honestly, some very light areas where it almost looks like a dried spot on the page. You don't want much. So pulling off our stencil briefly, you can see our wolf, kind of unintentional. We're gonna lay that back down, making sure we kind of get it lined up the right way. And just tapping down the edges, making sure we have some coverage. Here, we're doing some stars, spraying some white spray paint off onto our finger, flicking off to the side, and flicking down on top of the page, changing directions, changing distance and pressure, how hard we're flicking, how much paint is on our finger is all going to affect how these stars change shape and how they look. So play around and find something that is comfortable to you. Here I'm using Rust-Oleum Quick Color. I just found out that this is no longer sold at Home Depot here in Canada, but I did track this down at Walmart. So if you're looking for this nice, light, almost semi-transparent paint, really good for misty, foggy effects that you see here. Pick some up, Rust-Oleum Quick Color. Once I've got this laid down, I'm going to break off a piece of sea sponge or artist sponge. You can get this at any craft store, maybe your dollar store. If you don't have this, you could use, I don't know, the inside of a fuzzy old sock. That would work pretty good. Here we're just going to go in. We've got some Painter's Touch clear coat gloss that's going to just work the paint a little loose, wet it a little bit, and allow us to kind of come in and touch with this artist sponge and just make some tree shapes. Start really, really light. You don't want to muddy the paint or cloud it up. You just want to pull some of this white spray paint off and make some tree shapes. You'll get the hang of it as you go. This one looks really nice. I like that one. And I do go ahead and just basically completely covered up. But it looked good for as long as it lasted. Quick reminder, there are a ton of different tutorials on the channel here, folks, so check them out. We welcome you to the Aerosotle spray paint art community. There's tons of beginner stuff, some intermediate stuff, so if you're just figuring out how to get started with spray paint art, make sure to check out some of the other videos. If you do want to support the channel, make sure to pop on over to my Etsy shop and simply just buy something. I have a lot of fairly affordable artwork over there, including some of the videos. You'll see some of the artwork from them up for sale, up for grabs. So go pick out a unique souvenir and hang something on your wall. That's the greatest support you can show. It allows me to keep making these videos and keeping you guys happy. So back to the painting. We're just working in these trees. This is all going to be basic background imagery. Trees aren't perfect in nature. Yours don't have to be either. Just make sure you have a nice background base that you are happy with. Now we're laying down some black here. This is basically the surface our wolf is sitting on. So this is closer to the foreground of the image than those trees in the background. So we can go thick black. Then we're coming in with some full white coverage here. This is going to be some water, basically. So once you have a lot of paint, you really got to commit and just go straight across. Don't stop. Do your best not to overwork this part. So water is tricky. You might mess it up a few times. That's totally okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you go over this more than 3 times, it's really going to start to muddy up. If your paint is getting sticky, you can toss on some clear coat. If you do need to rework it, realistically, you're just looking for that side-to-side effect to give that illusion of water. Here we pull off our wolf stencil. Get the first look at our Howling wolf. Time to reveal the moon as well. Let's check that part out and see how that turned out. Common little mistake, you'll see the edge of that moon. A little bit of paint got pulled up by the edge of the paint planet stencil. No worries, go in with a nice light tap and simply shade back over it. I'm not super happy with the way the wolf turned out, so we're going to do some work there. I'm going to go in to streak that black across. I'm going to go in and do two things here. I'm going to highlight the wolf, which can be risky, and I'm going to actually go back in and brighten up the background a little bit, which could also be risky. Here I'm just going to shade out a little bit of the very, very foreground part of the water, just to kind of balance the image out a little bit and give me a place to lay down my signature and have that be visible. Make sure you guys are signing your artwork. You never know what someone might spot and want to buy. You never know, might be worth something one day. Always sign your pieces, and don't forget that important step. Here, I'm going over the whole painting with some clear coat. This really makes the paint kind of vibrant again, kind of seals it all. And I always finish the painting with a layer of clear coat. We're not fully done here yet. I'm gonna go back in and work the wolf, make it pop a little bit more, make it look a little bit more realistic. And once again, sign the painting. So if you are enjoying the video, if you're learning something with this tutorial, make sure to hit the subscribe button and join us. We're going to do a lot more tutorials upcoming here. If you have some ideas on what you'd like to see in future videos, make sure you comment down below as well. So here we go. I'm using like a really thin crochet needle. I find that's working really good to sign the paintings, add a little bit of highlights. Going in, just putting some grass, just a little bit of fine detail. And then I'm not really good at drawing in any sort of way, so it's not advisable for me to go in and start drawing on top of this wolf, but I am going to go ahead and do just that. You're going to see me add some highlights to the wolf. I start to panic as I'm doing it a little bit and thinking it's not going to turn out looking very good. But for those of you panicking along with me, end result looks pretty cool in my opinion. And I think this is a worthwhile touch to practice and play around with. Goes a little bit beyond, just putting a blank black silhouette. Just got to know the basic shape of how a wolf, looks, where its legs go, where its hindquarters go, kind of where its head is and what that looks like. And just tweak in a little bit of highlights. The rest of the painting is quite detailed, so it doesn't make a ton of sense to have the wolf just be a black silhouette here. So just a little bit of highlights. A little bit on the tail. If you made it this far in the video, you are a legend. Thanks so much for watching this far in. If you love this painting, if you think it's destined for your wall, head on over to Etsy. This specific piece will be up for sale while it lasts. Go in and scoop it up, and you have a piece of YouTube history hanging on your wall. Took off a little bit too much paint in a place I didn't like there. Just gonna tap some black back in. If you can't tell, 4 years have passed. You can tell by the amount of gray hairs infiltrating your screen here. Eventually we will refocus back onto the painting. This is where I started to panic a little bit. I couldn't tell if I was doing a disservice by having done these highlights. I was feeling like, at least for my eye, it was getting a bit muddied with the background. And I decided to go in and just make it pop a little bit more by simply adding a little bit of brightness to the background and almost backlight the wolf. So easy peasy, lay the stencil back down. It can be tricky to line it up just right. You do really want to make sure you line it up perfect. If you don't, you're going to get basically a double image. It's going to look a little silly. You're going to have some regrets. I want you guys to know when I'm painting these paintings, lots of moments where I kind of panic and think it's going awry. I know it's common for you as well. It's going through my mind too. Not all these paintings turn out perfect. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of wasted poster board and canvases and stuff along the way. So it happens to me as well. Going in, Rust-Oleum quick color, light bursts. Really don't want to go too much into the moon area or muddy that up or mess that up too much. Just want to give it a nice light backlight. When I pulled this off, I knew I did the right thing. That really, really makes our wolf pop. It should be the centerpiece. It kind of puts everything into scope here, and I just have to darken up that little ledge or ground terrain there where our wolf is chilling. That, to me, perfectly tied it together, and I hope you guys agree. If you like today's tutorial, make sure to hit like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next spray paint art video.